I'm Jake Williams, this is Chasing Cars, and today we're in country Victoria at a BMW event. It's an event to signify the launch of the 2018 model year, and BMW has luckily brought along 3 of their future models for us to have a look at. That is the new BMW M5, behind me is the BMW X2, and that is the BMW I3 S, and each 3 will be launching sometime this year. We don't have access to them to go for a little drive, however, we can have a little seat and see what they're like on the inside. The first car we're having a look at is the new BMW I3 S, and the i3 S continues BMW's i-Performance brand. So the i3 was actually the first i-Performance car from BMW way back in 2013, and for the 2018 model year it's been given a subtle upgrade with a midlife facelift. The model that we're in is the i3 S, which is a little bit more powerful, a little bit sportier for those that want a little bit more out of their electric car. It adds about 10 kilowatts of power and 20 newton meters of torque, so you get 135 kilowatts and 270 newton meters. The cabin of the i3 hasn't really changed that much since 2013, and to be honest with you, it didn't really need to. This is BMW's most ecologically friendly car that they make, and that's obvious in the materials that are used in the cabin. The obvious use of carbon fibre-esque trim, such as on the tops of the door trims, this kind of man-made leather trim and even some cloth makes it feel like a really high quality place to spend time. Even the tanning of the leather products comes from wood oak instead of other forms of ink or whatnot that you get with other leathers, which means that the i3 is a very ecologically friendly car. Even the wood used on top of the dashboard is made from recycled trees, which is all very nice to hear. The i3 cabin was updated with iDrive 6, which is BMW's latest infotainment system. It's like it is in other BMW products, it's excellent to use. The screen resolution is fantastic. The i3's driving position is quite excellent as well because the visibility is great, the windows are large, the mirrors are even larger, and unlike a lot of other cars, there's no kind of bits of dashboard sticking into your legs. It's a very airy feeling cabin. As well as having a good driving position, the i3's cabin is also immensely practical because there's so much space available. You get these lovely large door bins here. There's a huge center console here with a little cup holder, as well as another cup holder here, and even some more practical details such as this glove box at the top of the dashboard, a little storage spot underneath the infotainment system, and even a little net down here in which you can hold things like bottles in. The second car that BMW had at this launch event is the X2. And the X2 is actually an all-new car to the BMW range, and it sits in the range much like the X4 is to the X3 and the X6 is to the X5. It's a slinkier, sportier, sexier version of the X1. It's a completely different format to the coupe SUV of the X4 or the X6. Instead, they've taken 70mm off the top of the X1's roof and made it a little bit more wedge-like, as well as making it a little bit fatter to look at as well. And this fatness is kind of accentuated by the bumpers. So in Australia, you get this one single variant called the S-Drive 20i. You also get an M Sport package or an M Sport X package as standard equipment, and that adds a sports body kit with various sizes of wheels. One particular element I really like about the X2 is the grille. So this is the first time where the BMW kidney grille, their traditional design element, the bottom of the grille actually finishes further out than the top of the grille, and it kind of gives it a little bit of a snout look, which I quite like personally. And I know that the X2 is going to sell quite well because I'm sure a lot of people will like the way that it looks. As I said, the X2 is based on the X1, and that's most obvious on the inside because the dashboard layout is fairly identical. That means that quality is pretty good, especially this lovely textured aluminium finish here. The tops of the doors and the dash are nice and soft and convey a pretty premium feeling interior. Because you get the M Sport or the M Sport X package as standard equipment on the X2, you get this lovely 3-spoke M Sport steering, which you get in other BMWs such as the M140i. It's very thick rimmed, it's lovely to hold, and it gives pretty good control behind the wheel. Like the X1's cabin, the X2's cabin is pretty practical as well. You get this lovely kind of wave effect of dashboard here on the lower console, and it's actually soft touch as well, which is a nice touch. You get this kind of halfway opening cup holder set down here. You get this armrest here which has a little mobile phone holder, as well as a deep center box down here. You get these really nice door bins over here, and even the glove box is of a reasonable size as well. Like the i3 S that we were just in, the X2 gets BMW's latest iDrive 6 system. You can get optional Apple CarPlay, but there's no real point because the iDrive 6 system is so good and so brilliant to use. You can get inbuilt apps such as Spotify, which means that your phone can connect instantly, and it means that also that you don't have to touch your phone while you drive. It's all, the information is right there, right in front of you. The third and final car that BMW have previewed at this event is the all-new BMW M5. This latest generation of M5 uses the same 4.4 litre twin-turbo V8 as the last model, but this one's got 441 kilowatts of power and 750 Nm of torque. Unlike the last one, it's matched to an 8-speed automatic transmission, and BMW claims a 0 to 100 time in just 3.4 seconds. Unlike the last BMW M5, this one is actually all-wheel drive. And like the new Mercedes-Benz E63 S, the front differential can actually decouple from the drivetrain, which can make it a rear-wheel drive only car. While we weren't able to drive the M5, we were able to get a sampling of its bimodal exhaust system in its sportiest mode. The BMW 5 Series has been featured quite heavily on chasing cars, and we're very lucky to have experienced it in so many different forms. The M5 takes the 5 Series cabin and takes it up a little notch. There's a few more sporty elements as you'd expect from an M car, and overall it's definitely a nicer place to be. For instance, this steering wheel is a new design of M Sport steering wheel that will probably filter down to the rest of the range. It's like the other M Sport steering wheels in that the rim is quite thick, but it's actually got a new design. So the center actually has a nice little leather finish with some stitching. There's some M1 and M2 buttons. There's these huge paddle shifters that sit behind it, which let you know a little clue as to the car's performance potential. There's lovely stitched leather on top of the doors and the dashboard, as well as even on the center console here, which is nice, which is where your leg rests. And even the trim materials themselves, so this use of kind of fake carbon fiber here, and even this kind of gloss shadow chrome metallic is a really, really nice fit and finish to this car. Now, this being an M5, of course, the biggest difference inside the cabin are the seats. So they're these sumptuously comfortable 16-way electrically adjustable seats. Of course, you get driver's memory functionality, and there's an infinite way of adjustment, so you can make the headrest go in. The lumbar adjustment is quite plentiful, and even the side bolsters can be made to push in further. And depending on which drive mode you're in as well, if you're in M2 mode for instance, the seats actually kind of hug you a bit better to hold you in during corners. The BMW Range Day was a great opportunity to get a glimpse of BMW's future product, especially the 3 cars that we viewed, which all launch in Australia within the next few months. The i3 S provides another element to the i3 with its sporty intentions, whilst keeping the i3 quirky, futuristic and fun. The X2 is a stylish addition to the range and is certainly less controversial than its larger brothers, whilst the hypersport sedan market is in excellent shape for the future with the bonkers new M5. We look forward to driving these 3 cars, but most importantly, 2018 looks to be a great year ahead for the BMW brand.